Okay, how's it going, guys? So, the Trans Euro Trail. I thought I'd have a little bit of a chat about it. I'm no expert, but done all of it in Cornwall now, and it's just a great experience. I really enjoy the whole process. I went from passing my bike test, getting my first bike, and then getting on the T.E.T. I've sort of done sections of it with 4 different bikes now. So I started off in a little 250 Honda CRF, then I had a Fantic 500 for a big chunk of it, then I had the Tenere 700 for a bit, and now I'm back on a Honda again, a little Honda 300L. And yeah, my sort of skills have grown. I'm certainly still no off-road enduro expert, that's for sure, but my confidence has shot up massively, especially since I've had the little Honda 300, just because it's so easy, it's such an easy bike to ride. And yeah, my confidence has shot up. So I've gone from being kind of, the weak link in every kind of group that we rode in to, being one of the more sort of eager, fast ones in, many of the groups that, I ride with. But like I said, yeah, I'm still no expert, and I still probably go slower than anyone who's serious about this kind of stuff. But I definitely I relish the challenge now. I used to be where I'd be constantly worried about how slippy a slope was, or how deep the mud was, or whatever it was. I'd always be kind of a little bit anxious about what was ahead, but now I'm actually just really enjoying the challenge, and the harder the section generally, the more I like it now. So yeah, things have I've progressed, definitely, but the whole experience is just great. You end up riding with a real mix of different people, different ages, just a real kind of diverse group. As long as somebody's into green laning, into off-roading, into motorbikes, into the countryside, into the views, into just the actual locations, and checking out all these weird little places this strange little line on a map takes you. It's just, yeah, you just get such a strange mix of different people, and I very much, I appreciate that as much as anything, really. But for me, I really like exploring Cornwall. I liked exploring new places, and this is a great way to do it, because you're generally, for the most part, away from the crowds. In terms of who could do this, I think anyone could do this. I would definitely say it is kind of seasonal. Been doing a lot of riding recently, and going across lanes that I remember, oh wow, this was a challenge. I had to turn around here. I couldn't get through this on my T7 in the winter. But now, when it's dry as anything, I'm just flying along, and I don't even notice the tricky bit anymore. So it's very, very seasonal. So bear that in mind if you are going to take this on and you're new to it, because yeah, if you get a month of rain and then you go, it ramps up the difficulty in many places, obviously, as you would expect. But it's just harshly different between dry runs and very boggy wet runs. But they manage the difficulty level when they're putting the lanes together, choosing the lanes. I think there was only one that I ever said no to, and that was the I've forgotten the name. I'll put it on the screen now. But yeah, it's one that's next to Pink Panther, basically. And yeah, there was only one that I said no to, and that was because I just brought my T7, and it was a big heavy bike, and I just wasn't used to it, and it was slippy, and the person that I was riding with had all these stories about how their riding partner broke his ankle there, and they had to call the ambulance out, and so I had all these fear stories right before I got there, and I was on this big heavy bike, and I just said no. But then I went back again with the same person, same rider, Susan, who's brilliant, and just flew down it on the little Honda, and it was drier, and obviously I was on a much easier bike to handle, and it was nothing. Like, I kept on waiting for a hard bit, and the hard bit never came. I just flew down it and it was fine. So yeah, it's a strange thing, like trying to grade difficulty or try to explain the difficulty, because it really can change from one day to the next depending on what the weather's done. But generally speaking, I think anyone can do this. I think the main thing is obviously make sure you've got the right tires if it is wet and muddy, and you just don't have a bike that's too heavy if you're not used to off-roading. The big bikes can certainly do it. That T7 could do it. A GS could do all of this, no problem. But it obviously depends on the rider and you and your confidence, and sometimes just the weight of the bike. It did for me on the Tenere 700. The weight of the bike itself is enough to knock your confidence that you're just, you're unsure and you just don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk breaking the bike or breaking yourself under a big heavy bike. But like I said, the Tenere 700 could easily do all of, everything that I've done on the T.E.T. There was nothing that it couldn't do. It's just on that one occasion, I just said no. I wasn't quite ready. But now I've done all of it, or whatever it is. It's a good couple of 100 miles worth. Some parts of the T.E.T. I've done multiple times. Some parts I've only done once. I'm talking about the T.E.T. in Cornwall. I've done a tiny bit in Devon, but hardly any. But I'm going to venture further up and then explore Wales as well. I think I'm really looking forward to Wales, because I think that's going to be a whole new extra level of challenge. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of chat about the experience in general, really. I just think it's sort of tame but exotic at the same time. It's hard to explain. It's an adventure, but it's also safe and close to home. So it ticks all these weird little boxes where, I haven't done the whole big camping thing yet. I haven't done any big runs. It's always been like big long day trips, like really long day trips, like 8 hours in the saddle and stuff and then back again. Obviously it's going to be a whole different ball game when I start to do camping off the trail and all that kind of stuff. That's going to be even more exciting. But just generally speaking, I've just found the whole getting into motorbikes, getting into green laning and off-roading as they call it, and getting into the T.E.T. has just been an absolute delight. And I just highly recommend it. I think I'll just say that and leave it there. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed it, and massive thanks to anyone involved in the T.E.T, the people that put these things together. And there's great community behind it, on Facebook groups and all the rest of it. If people have problems or questions, there's always about 100 million people ready to answer and ready to pipe up. And you get people stuck in the middle of nowhere. I mean, not happened to me yet, touch wood, but you get people stuck in the middle of nowhere, and they post online and they're like, oh, I'm stuck here. Can someone tell me there's a mechanic, or can someone help me? I'm really, really stuck here. And you always get like loads of people piping up and helping, and even like offering beds and all this kind of stuff. So it's just generally a great community, and yeah, you'll just find yourself hanging around with people that you just a complete mix of from young to old to fat to thin to whatever. They're just such a big old mix of people that are into this. I find quite appealing, because you just never know who you're gonna bump into on the lanes. Anyway guys, I just thought I'd have a little chat, and yeah, just a little sort of a love letter to the T.E.T, and how I would highly recommend anyone who's, even if you're not into motorbikes, if you're into a bit of adventure and checking out some interesting landscape and a different sort of holiday or a different sort of hobby or a different sort of activity. It doesn't, you don't need to be too fit to do this. You don't need to be a motorhead. You don't need to be anything. You just got to be interested, and chances are your interest will be rewarded, and you'll grow into it, and yeah, it will form itself around you. It's a strange thing, but I highly recommend it. Anyway, enough waffling from me. I'm gonna sign out there, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. Not kidding about a slow lane. Very fit. Whoa! Going the right way. Keep going, yeah? Am I going the right way?